Hello everyone, today we've got some news regarding Robert Whittaker and his bout against Marvin Vettori at UFC 275. Robert Whittaker has announced that he's pulling out of the fight due to injury, leaving Marvin Vettori looking for an opponent at UFC 275. It's unfortunate that Robert Whittaker had to pull out of this bout because I thought it was an interesting matchup. Number 1 ranked contender versus the number 3 ranked contender. And Marvin Vettori is just a tough fight for anybody in the middleweight division. Sadly, this is something that has become somewhat consistent in the past few years with Robert Whittaker. He had to pull out of his first title defense against Luke Rockhold, he had to pull out of a bout with Calvin Gastelum just hours before the fight, and he also had to pull out of a bout with Jared Cannonier. It's unfortunate. We see this a lot in MMA. Guys overtrain and end up hurting themselves in training camp. I think it's something that fighters need to really take seriously. Having to pull out of bouts because of injuries is something that can set your career back for years. And I think a lot of fighters just go really hard in the gym and train really hard and just don't pay attention to their bodies enough. I think rest is something that's really important for these guys, and it's something that fighters should be taking quite a bit more seriously. So what does this mean for Marvin Vettori? Well, first, let's just say it. Marvin Vettori is an absolute badass. The guy will fight anybody. He does not care. He called out Darren Till and Khamzat Chimaev, saying he'd fight them both back to back. You got to give this guy credit, man. He is willing to fight anybody at any time. I think him versus Khamzat is something that's just extremely unlikely, even though the bout is still a few months out. But him versus Darren Till, I think, is actually a good matchup and a really smart call out by Marvin Vettori. It's a fight that'll get him a lot of eyes, a lot of attention, and the trash talk between those two would just be awesome. Those guys would be getting at each other left and right. Honestly, I really don't even see a much better matchup looking at the rankings. Jared Cannonier is slated to be fighting Israel Adesanya sometime soon. Derek Brunson just lost to Cannonier, and I don't really know if Brunson is looking to have any more fights. Sean Strickland is matched up against Alex Pereira. Jack Hermanson has already lost to Marvin Vettori, so Darren Till just seems like the next logical fight. I think it's a great call out. Regardless of who Marvin Vettori ends up fighting, I think you got to give him credit for willing to stay on the card and take any fights, and I hope the UFC can do something for him to keep him on the card.